Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another video. All right, let's see what we got in front of us. We have a 143 scale Opel Meriva. The year's 2011. Now, this model is made by Minichamps. I always say, if you follow my other videos, I think Minichamps is a great brand. It's one of the very few brands that I haven't found any flaws yet. Flaws, I mean, like with the Rev. Unfortunately, on some of their older models, their paint job was not the greatest, and that was one of the things I always brought it up when I got to see it, because I like to be very fair when it's reality and it's not showing their quality. I'm gonna bring it up because this kind of it's like a review. Now, giving a little bit more information about this vehicle, the Opel Meriva, it's they call it MPV. MPV, yeah, MPV. It's like a minivan. We call it like a small minivan. MPV, I think they call it like in Europe. Now, this model had two generations. The very first generation came out in 2003 until 2010. This model, it's a 2010 until 2017. I gotta tell you the truth, I like the car. It's modern, it's a small minivan forward slash crossover, you might want to call it, or MPV like they call it in other parts of the world. But I find it attractive. I like that different color tone. Most likely the roof being all blacked out, it most likely was a panoramic sunroof, which I love in a car. I think that was one of the smartest things they came out with in the last 10 years. Panoramic sunroof makes the car look like a convertible, even though it's not a convertible. And some people do not like to buy convertibles because of the structure of the car is a lot weaker. Then you could get a panoramic sunroof and you get to see the whole roof and you don't have to sacrifice other parts. And you may have a big family and convertibles may not work for you as a big family. You want to fit more people. Now these type of cars are great. I never seen one in person, even though Opel had a lot of connection with GM, which back then it was part of GM. And some of their models they were brought to the North America as a Buick. In the past, when we had Saturn, a brand called Saturn, they also sent them a Saturn. But Buick was the latest one that used to have some of their models, like the convertible. I forgot the name now. Buick Calib. I forgot. It was a convertible that it was Opel made, but also in North America we had it. And also the Opel, I think the Opel Lacrosse. Oh no, not the Opel Lacrosse. I'm sorry, the Buick Lacrosse was an Opel model also. Not fully sure, but I know Buick had a few of them. You may, if you Google that, you probably know, Google GM models or Opel models that were sent into the North America as Buicks. You're probably gonna get the list. Going back to this model right here, if you look at the model itself, I looked at pictures. It looks exactly the way it is. The front end, the chrome face, the rounded headlights, like cat type, pointy. The wheels look exactly like they look in real life. I like those little details because it makes it look like they really put effort into making a good quality model. Now these cars, they have a smaller engine. They're smaller cars. They were basically built. By the way, assembly line. Assembly line, before I forget, they were not built in Germany like we might think as Opel. They were built, assembly line was in Spain. And this car had different names in some countries. It was called Vauxhall in Vauxhall Meriva in the UK, Opel Meriva Activan in Denmark, and Opel Meriva Crossvan in Israel. So it had a few different names. And talking about engines, like I mentioned before, four cylinders. They had 1.4 regular, 1.4 turbo, 1.3 diesel, and a 1.7 diesel. And it came as manual and also a 6-speed automatic. Cool little van. I'm gonna let it go around a few times so you can have a nice look at it, and I'll be right back. Alright, guys. What do you think about this car? Do you find them attractive? Now, not fully sure that's the way the doors used to open. I was looking at a picture of the second row seats, the doors. I'm not sure if the doors slide. I don't see no railing. As I'm looking at a picture, they opened up like the suicide type, the back doors. If anyone's familiar with this car, I would love you to give me more information about it. The second row seats, the side doors, did they open from front to back? Because that's kind of, I thought for some reason like usually the minivans, they have that little railing that you push in, it moves back so you could get in and you could push it back to the same position. But this one opens up like the wings, but the opposite way. The opposite way, which I find weird. I'm not sure how I guess when you own one of these you get used to it. I'm not sure if that's my favorite. The last time I saw a car do that I remember was there was like a Saturn. If you're familiar with the Saturn, or you know which car, I think the Veloster, Hyundai Veloster, did that also. There was a Saturn coupe that did that also, but that's not a very common, and especially in a car. I would have probably had rather them opening the doors the normal way, like just swing open. Sometimes I have noticed with some of these brands, they want to make it so modern that they push the limit, and I think it goes above to like from being cool and modern to being a bit of a why. Like, why will you do that? Like, what's the big help in there? But they might have their own reasons. All right, enough chit chat and my talking, blah blah blah, and let's get to the end of the video. Don't forget to please give me a beautiful thumbs up. I always appreciate that. Don't forget to click and subscribe, and don't forget to follow. Well, click and subscribe and comment below, please. Let me know. Have you ever drove one of these? Have you ever drove in the UK as a Vauxhall? Have you ever even seen them on the road? Are they popular? I guess they no longer make them because 2017 was the last year, but that's not so long ago. That's only 7 years ago. So I'm guessing the cars are still on the road, the ones that haven't been damaged. All right, guys, so take care of yourselves more than ever, and goodbye.